Welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm so glad that you are here with us at King's Restaurant, where we have a great table in the corner and a lot of great food. My friend Major Josephine Bloss from the Guam, National Guard is my guest today, because coming up this week, you're going to see a lot of activity around Guam for this incredible exercise that is bringing in hundreds of people from off island.
Absolutely.
And engaging hundreds of people on island. So, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. This is like the second time in like a month, I think, that we've had you. So, I could get you as a guest anytime.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having us.
No, it's my pleasure.
We definitely want to get the word out about this exercise.
This is a biggie. How long has it been going on Guam? How long have you been
The last time it was on Guam was in 2008.
Okay. Wow.
But we received word a little over 2 years ago that it was going to be back on Guam this month.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been in the planning since then, and like everything else, you keep planning. It's not until maybe a couple months out when you start panicking. Oh my God, it's coming! But yeah, so
it's coming, and
coming.
we've been here before. This is an exercise that, look at what is happening. You see all of the pictures of typhoons and obvious search and rescue, hazmat emergencies, all different types of scenarios. So first of all, who's involved?
Okay, so it's a NORTHCOM, U.S. Northern Command sponsors it in conjunction with the National Guard Bureau. So they have this exercise throughout the 54 states and territories 2 or 3 times a year. So like I said, the last time it was on Guam is in about 2008. So almost every 10 years, they'll have it in your state or territory. And what it is, what they do for the National Guard is they come up with exercises that are realistic. So I think the last state they came from, it was a tornado, and we're like, we don't have tornadoes on Guam, but so that's why you see the typhoon.
Personalize it,
right? Because otherwise it's not going to be a realistic exercise. So what they do is they create this massively big exercise, and they have this one. They're going to have like 17 or 18 scenarios in about 4 days.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the scenarios so you kind of have an idea of what could be happening around you.
Right.
But the people that are coming in, they're coming in from the Guard in other states, right?
Absolutely, because if it was a real world scenario, we're going to need help. We do have, it's a very CBRNE, so CBRNE is chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear exercise. It's very centered towards that, but yet there's other things that can still happen. So if we're going to need help, we're going to need the other states to respond. So we have states like California, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and Washington, which is in our region, Region 9. If something happens here, they usually respond.
Oh, they'll come for backup.
Correct.
So they're coming into an entirely different climate, entirely different environment. A lot of them have never even been to Guam. Right. So, but the scenarios are something that they've been practicing for.
Absolutely. With the different civil support teams or CBRNE-centric teams, they're used to responding to these kind of scenarios. Maybe, like you said, in different weather, but they do it year-round. Our CST,
no matter where it is, they have to adjust.
Our CST team here on Guam is constantly in a training mode, because they have to know what's up, what's down, what's the new chemical that they need to be aware of, and how to respond to it. So they're a very highly trained, highly capable unit. But now we're bringing in units from 6 other states, plus they're bringing in even bigger units. So there's what they call a SURF-P, which is like a 200-man unit. So not only are they CST capable, which is civil support team, but even more, they bring out so much equipment that they need, like a C-17 to bring it out.
That's what I was going to say. How are they going to get all that equipment here? They're flying all of that
They
equipment
have to fly it in, because how else are they going to get to Guam, right?
Yeah.
In a timely manner.
Yeah. So when are these planes going to start coming in?
They should. So yesterday was when we got, so everything is notional. We have to play it like it's real. Yesterday we got informed by the National Weather Service that there's a storm coming. And so the Guard, reacting to that, we started setting up our task forces. We started notifying the National Guard Bureau, Northcom, and then the other units, and then so now they're preparing to come out. So
is that the normal course when they announce that there's a typhoon?
Yes.
A threatening typhoon that could
So-
get go? Is that the normal way things go?
yes, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
So even when we had that storm the other day that they
Yeah.
said, hey, it's in the area, we
Yeah.
have a
You still have to
the
put
National
together.
Guard, we have a heavy weather brief, and we bring all our units together, all the full-time units, and we start talking about it, saying, okay, if this hits, what are we going to do? So we did what we normally do. We did a bronze alert, which is we get in contact with all our personnel. 90% of our personnel are part-time. So they're not at the National Guard every day, so we have to contact them.
Oh my gosh.
Let them know, hey, there's a storm in the area, just in case something happens, be alert, tune into the radio, tune into the TV.
And be prepared to be
Be
recalled or
prepared
something?
to be called in, correct.
Wow.
And so we track them wherever they're at, whether they're in school, maybe on vacation, maybe training off island for their employer.
Yeah.
So we have to know everything, where they're at, what they're doing.
Wow.
So if we need to recall them, or if we need to recall somebody else, maybe from another state, to perform that duty because
Do you
they're
have
not
a certain
here.
number of like people who have to be readily available for something like that? Is there like a set number, like, or does it depend on the strength of the typhoon?
It definitely depends on what's going to happen, but we always have what's called a quick reaction force, which is about 24 people that will keep at the guard, at the unit, prepared if anything happens. So yeah, and we've always got
Okay.
a unit that are prepared to immediately go out and see what we're going to need to do immediately if anything happens.
So it starts off, this one is a heavy weather. It's like the possibility of a typhoon coming your way, and then they watch how everybody responds to that. So
Correct.
that's kind of the first launch of what this whole Vigilant Guard thing exercise is going to be about.
Absolutely.
First of all, okay.
And so, based on what we're expecting from this typhoon, some of the
This
units will-
typhoon,
yeah,
right,
this
yeah.
this exercise.
Yeah, we have to
typhoon,
make sure that the viewers know that it's.
we're going to have units start rolling in like Friday, Saturday,
Oh wow.
because we know that if we're going to need them to respond, we're going to have to get them here before any damages might
What
happen.
other agencies are also involved in that then?
Oh,
too?
there's a lot of government agencies. Of course, we're always working with the Guam Homeland Security and Office of Civil Defense. We're going to have some scenarios at the Guam Memorial Hospital, Department of Public Health and Social Services. Of course, the first responders, Guam Police, Guam Fire, Port Authority, Guam DOE, because if a typhoon happens, we have shelters that we need to open.
Right.
Guam Waterworks, Guam Power, the Mayor's Council, because there's a lot of scenarios that are going to be in the villages.
Right.
And of course, that, like I mentioned, the National Weather Service.
Yeah, and so these are the groups that are already organized when there is a typhoon nearby anyway.
Correct,
Okay,
right.
this
So
is-
when they start calling heavy weather briefs up at Civil Defense
Yeah.
or Homeland Security, all of these agencies are
come
already
together.
involved.
Okay, all right.
And then even with the federal government, we'll have FEMA involved, Naval Base, and with Naval Base and JRM, we have the Fire and Emergency Services that will be also responding, in addition to the National Guard and the Army Reserves.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's engaging a lot of people. What is the role of the people, of the guardsmen that are coming in from other states?
Most of them are the CBRNE-centric units,
Right.
either the CBRNE Enhanced or the CST units that will be coming in.
Okay. And so in a situation, a typical situation of a typhoon, they would just be on standby in the event that there is what? A need for security?
Absolute
or
security, or just to respond to, like, for example, if the typhoon causes explosions or any damages, like maybe to the power plant, so now there's odors in the air, nobody knows how to respond, that's what the CST or these CBRNE units will respond to.
Yeah. So is it reciprocal, this relationship that
Absolutely.
you have with these
Absolutely. So we have units that will go out if other states are playing and they need role players or they need assistance. Our CST mainly is the ones that will go out to assist, but if they need other role players or anybody else to help with the coordination, then we do the same.
So you guys will go to them in their.
Absolutely. We've gone to Hawaii, we've gone to the different western states to assist.
Okay. and so it's a reciprocal relationship that is always fulfilled. You have
Absolutely,
to,
yes.
You have to call when
because
they
it's
call.
it's a National Guard and a NORTHCOM exercise. So everybody in the National Guard knows that, hey, if we're called upon to assist, we want to assist.
Wow. Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and take a break here in a second. But when we come back, what people are going to need to know is that there's going to be a lot of scenarios that will pique their interest, or maybe even prompt them to call.
Absolutely.
And the media has to play some sort of role.
Yes.
I mean, not actively, but they have to be aware that these exercises are going on so that we can assure the public. Okay, we're going to talk about that
Right.
and the scenarios because they sound pretty fun.
Oh, yeah, it's always
as
fun.
Emergencies go. I mean, that's not what I meant, but
As long as we know it's an exercise,
then it's fun. Okay, we're taking a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Something to Talk About. I'm with Major Josephine Bloss from the Guam National Guard. We're talking about Vigilant Guard 2020. It sounds ominous.
It sounds awesome, right?
It does, and it also, I mean, when you look at all of these different scenarios of things that we respond to and that determine our readiness, right?
Absolutely.
So we're starting off the exercise with the scenario that there's a typhoon coming, so you test the responses and how people form the task force.
Absolutely.
Okay. And
so a lot of it is based on, a lot of the information was taken like from Typhoon Pongsonghua.
okay.
So based on, okay, if we're having
worst
winds,
possible
yes,
scenario.
the worst scenario. So if we're going to have wind speeds like this, or we're going to, like that typhoon was leaving and it came back to kick us again. So
Right.
that's what this typhoon is based on. And one of the similar scenarios was the explosion at Port Authority.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to give exact details, but there's going to be
There's going to be an explosion at Port Authority. Well, not an actual explosion or a simulated.
Right, a simulated explosion.
Okay, so that means all it is responding to this scenario.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
and so, like with the National Guard, when we respond, we're a support entity. So if somebody calls 911, we're not the first to respond.
Right.
It always has to be GPD or Guam Fire that goes out there, and then they gauge the situation, and then they say, okay, what do we need? Do we need help, or can we handle the situation? So, and so that's going to be how it goes. After the explosion, somebody's going to call 911. GPD will respond, and then if they they'll contact. They usually contact Homeland Security, and then it usually goes to the governor's office, and then they say we need the National Guard.
Okay.
And then once it hits, once we get the call, then we say, okay, what do we need to do to respond? And our CST, at any given time, 24 hours a day, if they need to respond, they have 2 hours to report in and get the vehicles going.
Okay. But in the case of that, you also are engaging law enforcement agencies.
Yes.
Is it on the possibility that this is terror related, for example,
Correct,
or criminal?
So if they think it's terror related or criminal, then of course the FBI will be contacted, just the different law enforcement. If it's on the base, of course, OSI or the Army's CID will be contacted. So, there's a certain protocol that they're going to follow.
Yeah.
But first it goes into 911 call center, and then they move from there.
So one of the, you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know how. It's just that they're going to say there's an explosion at the Port Authority.
Right.
Does that come over the regular scanner?
It is.
Because we have people who listen to the scanners, and they
Right.
will respond. I mean, we're talking about members of the public.
So like in the Guard, all our messages that have been going across our WhatsApps or our emails or even phone calls, you always have to say exercise, exercise, exercise
okay.
to make sure that people aren't freaking out. So that should be the same when they call 911. Exercise, exercise. There's an explosion at the Port Authority, and then they move from there.
As opposed to this is not a drill.
Right.
Okie dokie.
Right.
All right. So if you're like one of those people who like to listen to scanners, make sure that you know that some these, because it incites public.
But we never know when there's a real world incident. So if in doubt, call 911.
Okay.
And if it is an exercise, they will let you know.
Yeah, they also want the public to respond because
Absolutely.
then it tests
the
response.
public as well.
Okay, all right, good.
So if the public doesn't get the word that it's an exercise and they're freaking out, call 911, and 911 operator will let you know if it's real or it's an exercise.
Okay. And then
we
the
definitely
media
want
then
them to
is
call.
also engaged in it. I guess
Yes.
that's part of your job is to let us know
Absolutely.
this is, you know.
So if they show up to a site, then all the responders know what to do. They know
Okay.
they're supposed to contact either Guam Homeland Security PAO, which is Jenna Bloss, or myself at the Guard, or the Guam Fire, whoever's responding. They're supposed to let us know,
Okay.
hey, there's media in sight, so we can go and assist in that.
So what are the other scenarios? So we got an explosion at the
So we have an
park,
explosion. We have a collapse, a hotel collapse. It says
Oh my
Verona, but
gosh.
it's actually so. At the Guam National Guard, we've actually erected a rubble. They're saying a rubble pile, but it looks like a building right now. So that's supposed to collapse, and so they're going to respond there.
Is that where, are you having victims?
We are.
In the
We
rubble
are.
in the hotel collapse?
In every one of these scenarios, there's going to be victims.
Oh, yeah.
That we're going to have to respond
See, where
to.
it's like, it's a stage.
Yes.
It's a production with actors.
Absolutely. And so how these actors perform
Yeah.
and then how our responders perform is all it's a scorecard. It's not necessarily a test. It's not a pass fail thing, but they want to see how we perform and just to try to make us better. So based on how we perform, if we either did well or what can we do to be better. They're not out to get anybody and say you did lousy or whatever, but they're trying to say how can we do better in a real world situation.
Yeah, okay.
And I think we've always worked really well with our first responders, with the government, federal and local government here. So I think it's just going to be another performance that we'll do well in. But definitely if we don't, we want to know so we can make it that much better.
Okay, so there's an explosion, a hotel collapsing.
So we have an incident at the power plant where somebody's going to get injured, a chemical release at the power plant. So they're going to get injured. They'll probably have to be evacuated. So we have several medevac situations throughout
so
the
you
island.
have, is it like HSC 25? And
HSC 25 and the National Guard's Lakotas will,
Yeah.
depending on the situation, then they'll call who they need to call.
So then here's what you're going to see. You're going to see emergency vehicles responding.
Yes.
And you're also going to see helicopters, people are waving by, and you're also going to see helicopters and ambulances.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So
this is
anything
what we'll
you're
get
going
the
to,
pay. Yeah.
a lot of sirens, a lot of horns, just a lot of,
Wow.
and some of the situations are going to take place during the day. Some of them will be like in the middle of the night.
Oh my.
So we just
okay.
want to let people know that, hey, don't freak out if you hear what's going on. If you're not sure, call 911.
Okay.
Otherwise, just know that we have this exercise. So this is one of the collapses. This
Okay.
is what I was talking about
Yeah.
at the Guard. And then suspicious barrels. And so whenever there's a suspicious barrel or, liquids or powder, they call on the CST to come and test the, whatever it is, because the last thing you need is to go and
Yeah.
inspect it yourself
Yeah,
and
yeah.
realize that maybe you shouldn't have done that. So
Right,
we get
right.
these guys out, whether it's fire or the CST personnel in the hazmat suits to go and test the situation.
Okay. So part of this, okay, go ahead. So there's
okay.
hazmat stuff, there's explosions, there's hotel
So there's going to
collapse.
be an incident at down in Umatic, and then they're going to have to be moved to the staging site, which is the Moleso baseball field,
Okay.
in order for the
Oh,
helicopter
well,
to
there's
land.
nothing that says excitement than a helicopter landing in sleepy
In
Mauricio.
Moleso,
Oh, yeah,
right,
okay,
right.
okay.
Guam Memorial Hospital is also going to play. They're going to have a mass care, a casualty, more explosions
Dang.
or just what do I say?
It'll
Different chemicals released. I mean, that's the scariest thing.
I think it'll feel like it's the end of the world for a few days.
Yes, and when Northcom first came out here to do this training, they're going to say it's like the worst possible scenario that
Yeah.
can happen. But how we respond, we're doing that to let the public know as well that, hey, we
Yeah.
know we're here, we're able to respond. If anything happens, we can take care of you.
Okay, all right. That's the best part. Now the other thing, okay, you have a disease outbreak.
Yeah,
Oh my.
dengue fever or any of the such, and then even they're going to be transferring patients,
Okay.
whether it's through helicopter or just
So
through ambulance.
so the thing is that you actually have people who are playing these victims.
right.
And so it's a casting call.
Yes.
Right?
So there's a contractor that was hired by Northcom, and they actually, I saw the Facebook post yesterday, they actually put out a post saying, hey, if you want to be part of the scenarios, and they're actually paying them
Yeah, was it like a couple hundred
a
bucks?
couple $100 to come and play
So you have to play either whatever the scenario is. You have to
Whatever
be
the
a
scenario.
So they give you like a scenario.
They'll
card?
give you a card and they'll say, okay, you're having chest pains, or you can't walk because you hurt your knee, or whatever.
And you have to full on.
Yes, you have to
act
full
like
on,
that,
because
all of that.
how you act is going to determine how we react or perform.
So the better performance and the more stressful that it is,
Absolutely.
you're catching. Okay.
And
So-
I've seen these guys in action, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Both sides, the
Yeah.
actors and the responders.
So I guess do you know the name of the contractor that was on Facebook? If you can
I
find
saw
that.
it. I think it was called Human Solutions or something.
Okay.
But I can send that to you.
Okay,
Yeah, here it
Human
is.
Solutions. So it's on Facebook, and you could probably contact them through, that they're looking
Human
for.
Domain Solutions
Human
LLC.
Domain Solutions LLC. Okay. And they're looking for, it's a casting call for victims. That is so funny.
Yeah,
and
it's
fun,
awesome.
I think. But
Yeah.
when you know that you're just role playing and it's
Right.
not a real emergency, but it is. Hey, for all you young actors out there looking for
Looking
a
for a
gig,
few $100, hey, come
just
out and
be
play a
vic-
role.
Gosh, Reese the Beast would be so perfect. She would be like, I know. I'm looking right at my producer, and
She
would be
she
perfect.
wants to do that if there's the firemen are coming, right?
Yeah. And then there's that.
Right.
Well, man, this is.
It's
this
going to
is-
be really exciting. It's going to be crazy, but it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. There's a lot of people converging on the island at this time. You'll see it all week long. And then the final day of after the exercise, you do it after action
Right,
report.
so we're going to have scenarios Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday is we all meet and kind of grade ourselves. For those that are grading us, we want to hear from them how if we did well, if we didn't, what we can do better. And because like in the Guard, we're always told we're so hard on ourselves. We forget to say what we did right, and we always say, well, we could have done this and we could have done that. And I know the general's always saying, don't forget, you guys did good.
Yeah,
Don't forget
yeah.
to say what you did well. And so we want to be told what we did well so we can make it better. But more so, we want to be told how we need to improve. So in a real world incident, we can respond the way we should respond.
That's the way, man. Vigilant Guard 2020. Guam is the stage for this exercise, and you as the public are also part of the cast of characters. If you see
Absolutely.
something and it's obviously scary to you, call 911, report it, and then it's part of the whole.
If it's part of the
scenario.
exercise, we'll
Yeah.
know, and if it's not, and we know it's a real world situation, we can handle that too.
Thanks a lot.
You're very
I
welcome.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having us.
Thank you for having us on Something to Talk About. See you next time.